Hello, everyone. This is BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today I'm here with my friend and co host, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. We're here because we care. Now, I want you to know that on Fridays, we talk tech and English, and today's that day. So sit back and relax. However, in the meantime, you might want to grab a little pencil because you might want to take some notes. You're going to get some nuggets to help you do business better. When we say do business better, what do we mean? We want you to bring the money in and we want you to be able to smile when people ask you about your business. So, with that, we're going to get this party started. We want to welcome everybody listening in the clubhouse. For those of you who are watching live on our various channels, if you're watching on YouTube, we'd love for you to subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, please follow us so you can get your notifications. Turn on those bells and whistles and and get ready to relax and enjoy information from the Biz Chicks. How you doing today, Fran?
I am doing very, very well.
Good, good. All is well here too.
hmm
Hmm.
All right. So we always start everything off with this day in tech history. I like history and I like tech history.
Hmm.
So we're going to talk about a little bit of it that happened this week. I was like, boy, um, a lot of tech history going on. Let's start January 12th, 1968. AT&T announces the designation of 911 as a universal emergency number. That was back in 1968, where you can call 911 and get help.
We have had that number so long. I thought it was older than that, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's only 1968.
Hmm.
Uh, January 12th, 1970, Boeing 747 flies for the first time. The Boeing 747, the original jumbo jet, makes its maiden flight. The 747 was the first wide body airliner, first to use the twin aisle concept, and the first
Hmm.
airliner to use high bypass turbofan engines.
Wow. You know, when you're young, you just don't know.
Mhm.
When I walked on those planes, I assumed that, they'd always been like that.
Everything starts somewhere.
It's just like my granddaughter will always assume that there was internet because she has not known a world without it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Hey, Jose. And Dr. Taji over in the
Hi,
clubhouse.
Doc. How you doing? Hi, Jose.
Okay, so January 13, 1874. Yes, I said 1874. The U.S. Patent Office issues a patent for the Spalding adding machine,
Mhm.
the precursor of calculators and computers. Mechanical adding machines could do simple arithmetic and were could do simple arithmetic and were popular in businesses until supplanted by computers in the 1960s.
Mm.
And this wasn't small either.
That's interesting because I can remember working in a grocery store. I was about 11 years old and adding the stuff up and pulling the little lever. And it would add up the groceries. Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Now we're scanning and
Or we talking to the devices and they just
it's,
calculate without,
yeah.
you don't have to actually tap a finger. January 13th, 1910, the first public radio broadcast takes place. A live performance of the opera Calvaria Rusticana is sent out over the airwaves from the Metropolitan Opera House in New York
Mm.
City.
Well,
The
what a
first
beautiful way to
public
start.
radio. uh, Say that again,
What a beautiful way to start.
yeah, the first public radio performance. Dr. Tachi, you want to weigh in? I'm like, seriously, 1910. I was thinking radio might have started prior to that. Go ahead.
But you know what? Here's the thing: there are always people that were tinkering with that concept and discovering that radio waves could ride on wires, etc. But the first public broadcast, yeah, that was 1910. I remember that's something that when we do a timeline, if I'm teaching a media course, when we do the timeline of media, that's something that always stands out to my students for some reason. So yeah, that's correct.
Oh, 1910. I'm like,
PBS.
January 13th, 2000,
Mm-hmm.
which was 22 years ago.
Yes.
Microsoft chairman Bill Gates steps aside as chief executive and promotes company president Steve Ballmer to the position. Gates would stay on as a chief software architect until June of 2008 before finally giving up the day-to-day responsibilities at Microsoft. Gates is still Microsoft's chairman of the board. Interesting. And I read somewhere that he did that because he would rather be making software and doing that than just doing the corporate day-to-day things. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
The thing
He
that
has to be the creator.
the creative. He was a creative, he is a creative, not necessarily the one that does all the day-to-day. January 14th, 1914, the first car to be built on an assembly line was completed on that day, a Model T Ford. 1914. We could have put a video in there, huh? Okay. From 1910.
And the beginning of the whole assembly line mentality for manufacturing. Right. Yeah.
But that was a brilliant idea. Instead of, you were able to do something on a mass production rather than one man, at a time.
Car. Yeah.
Right. There's some pros and cons for that. Okay, here we go. Probe lands on Titan, January 14th, 2005. The European Space Agency's Huygens probe lands on Saturn's moon, Titan. This was the first landing ever accomplished in the outer solar system. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what I would say too. And I think this is my final story. January 14th, 2009, an internal Apple memo from Steve Jobs announced that he would be taking a 6 months leave of absence until the end of June 9 to allow him to better focus on his health and to allow the company to better focus on its products without having the rampant media speculating about his health. And that is your tech history for today, this week.
This week in tech. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. We went from the assembly line to space all in what?
3 minutes or so. Yeah. It's really interesting how everything back then has affected what we do now. Somebody like Dr. Tachi said, tinkering with the radio waves or tinkering with the calculator. And we are here right now with so many things that are going on in tech. We are literally going around the world with video and audio simultaneously to several platforms.
This is amazing.
But just with tech.
And at minimal cost.
Yes, because technology was expensive back in the day.
Cameras, all kind of crews, cables going across the floor, all kind of wonderfulness going on.
Yeah, Dr. Tachi, you remember the big cameras that they used to have in studios? The big, the huge monsters that you had to try and move them.
I remember them. Yeah, I think really that's how a lot of us were taught.
Yes.
even, up until like the 90s and early 2000s, up until like the early 2000s, that's still what people were using. It was only recently, probably like the mid 2000s, that the robotic cameras became a thing. And part of the thing is stations don't always want to invest in the infrastructure to upgrade their stations, because frankly, that costs money. And so there was already the talk of right now, and it hasn't really happened yet, but there was a new broadcast standard that was introduced, it's had to be about 5 years ago now, if not more, called ATSC 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
So what we use now is NTSC, right? That is the broadcast standard over here. So ATSC 3.0 is supposed to make things more interactive, etc. But it's the same thing as having everybody switch over to a 4K infrastructure. It costs money, and it all only works if everything across that ecosystem is using that same standard. So the big thing is money, and sometimes people don't want to spend the money, meaning they don't want to change. So yeah.
And that is why we are still some places that we are, because we don't want to change. Like I know that everybody is touting 5G phone, 5G, 5G, 5G. They put up 5G, the 5G, what is it, service. But if you don't have a 5G phone, you won't be able to use it. Just like Dr. Tachi said, if you got 4K on your TV, but if they didn't shoot it in 4K, you're not going to get the benefit of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks better than it was. I was watching the basketball game, and I was like, what shot is that? Somebody had a 3D camera or something, because it was like, this looks real good. And it was like very immersive. You felt like you were right there in the stadium.
Yes.
And I was like, I wonder if they can shoot like that the whole entire thing. But it was only one camera angle. And my husband was like, how come it's only you only notices this stuff? I'm like, okay.
You do have an eye for it, Fred. I have to admit.
Why are you only the one seeing things?
I was like, hey, that's a different shot, but interesting. And we can actually shoot movies on a phone now.
Yes, with the proper rigging.
Yes, proper rigging, and also proper knowledge of lighting and stuff. Because just because you have a phone and you can shoot movies, you still have to have the intellectual capacity to do it, like the basics, lighting, what are they called, principles?
Yeah, basically principles, tenets, camera, lighting, sound, and
knowledge.
The interesting thing is that communication seems to be the only field that people think that because they know how to talk, or they have a phone, that they too can make money in this area. If I go, I understand a little bit about nutrition, but let me try and be a nutritionist and see who doesn't come after me. Simply because I understand this work, I can't go into surgery, but you all think you can come into my field and do what I do. Okay. So it's interesting how people, because it's so democratized, somewhat democratized, that everybody, which is a great thing, everybody has a voice, but the bad thing is that everybody has a voice, and not everybody is saying the right or correct things.
Yes. Interesting.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Terry, you got stories for us today?
Yeah, I have a story for you today, a story or two. Let me share my screen. This is all about the kiddos. Let's see.
So anybody in Clubhouse, while she's pulling that up, if you want to raise your hand, let me know. If you want to weigh in on something, we'll bring you up to the stage. I'm learning the right language for stuff now.
Okay.
Serena and Teresa, Shawana, and Ann have joined us in Clubhouse. Okay, Terry, what's happening?
Can everybody see this? This is Baby Shark. And I don't know if this song is in your head or not, But Baby Shark has become the most viewed video of all time as of November 2020. It was just over a year later. It says it has achieved another huge milestone. It's the first video to surpass 10 billion views. Okay, now
10
I know
billion.
10 billion with a B.
And what is okay? I'm
You don't know about Baby
clueless.
Shark?
I don't
Okay.
know about Baby Shark. Anybody know about Baby Shark in the clubhouse?
Yeah, I don't want to sing it, but
Well, there is a video clip in there. I think there is.
Yeah, there's a video clip.
Lord.
Let's see. It goes Baby Shark do 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 Baby Shark do do do, and I don't know if they're gonna sing it or not because I haven't listened to
Baby
it.
Shark is the first YouTube video to surpass 10 billion views.
I guess they're just gonna tell us about it.
Dig your vinyl, man. My budget doesn't. Calling time on collecting.
What's it?
State Farm has options to get you.
Oh, they gonna give you a commercial first.
Like
Oh, is that what's going
State
on?
Farm is there.
Mhm.
Call me at statefarm.com for a quote today.
Yeah.
why would
Baby Shark became the most viewed YouTube video of all time in November 2020, and just over a year later, it has achieved another huge milestone. It has become the first YouTube video to surpass 10 billion views. Baby Shark is a cultural touchstone at this point. I remember singing it at summer camps as a kid growing up, and given the record-breaking popularity of the music video, which was created by the entertainment company Pinkfong, it seems I'm not the only person who will never forget this song. I've been idly tapping my foot to the beat in my head the entire time I've been writing this post. But the song's impact doesn't stop with the earworm hit. There's also a Baby Shark show on Nickelodeon, a Baby Shark movie, and yes, as you may have feared, Baby Shark NFTs. If you're curious what the other top viewed YouTube videos are, Wikipedia looks to have a comprehensive list. The second most viewed as of this writing is Luis Fonsi's Despacito, which held the crown before Baby Shark did, though, with 7.7 billion views. It has a long way to go to try and catch the shark.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I can sing Baby Shark because my
Okay, so here's the thing. There's a couple of things that I just saw from here.
Mhm.
One, okay, so we have Baby Shark.
They got a show.
You heard the computer reading that, right?
Mhm.
Did you know that there's software that will read copy for you? That sounds like it was read by
It
a
does sound like
computer.
that. Mhm.
There's other software that I use for different clients that will read a script for me, but it doesn't
voice?
but it doesn't sound like computer.
Mechanical. It doesn't sound.
That sound mechanical. So
Yeah, it did.
They didn't go looking very well to find
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. So Baby Shark there's been some knockoffs. There's been some remixes. You have some quartets that have just made a whole living off of remixing Baby Shark. Now y'all not singing Baby Shark in harmony. Baby Shark do 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 do, and they go off into a whole like Boys to Men thing. It is a phenomenon. I had no idea until this 2-year-old came to live with me what the heck a Baby Shark was. So the fact that they have surpassed 10 billion, it's just phenomenal. Now let's go on to the next one. Let me stop the share on this because so much for babies and their baby sharks. I want to share this with you because this is about dogs for all the pet lovers in the audience. It's from the Consumer Electronics Show. And let me see if I can get this in full screen.
Tech at CES, but the collar from Unboxia stood out. It's the first collar to measure the respiratory and heart rate with tiny radar sensors. It's only for medium to large dogs, so sorry, Luna. We may never figure out what's going on with you, like why your ears point in different directions. It has built-in GPS that uses 4G LTE connection to track your dog and alert you if they run away. It's pretty cool, especially for older dogs or ones recovering from surgery. If you thought robot vacuums were already
they're talking about vacuums, but I wanted you to see the thing about the dogs. The fact that the collar will now measure your dog's heart rate, find out are they exercising enough, give you some feedback, and all of that is in the collar. But it, like he said, it is for larger and medium-sized dogs.
Like, what would we know to do if the dog's heart rate, how would we know the dog's heart rate is too fast or too slow, or what?
I'm assuming that the app would tell you that,
Oh,
because it is an app that works with the collar.
okay.
And here's the other thing. I'm sure there are probably some sponsors who will give you some voluntary feedback and tell you can bring him over here.
Okay, so anybody going to use the
Sort of like Teladoc.
Okay, I'm thinking of the dog.
It's like your Apple Watch for your dog. But you monitor. Obviously, the dog can't monitor your Apple Watch, but you can see what's going on.
Okay.
And there's some people who are very invested in their pets.
Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
So it's unlike the days of old where you just left your pets to your own devices. And they were basically fine before, right? So now I'm just saying, that obviously is a tool or something that is for, people really do love their pets.
They do.
Them as family members, they do. But are you wanting to spend whatever? How much does that cost?
Did they have a cost on it?
It's not available yet.
Oh. Okay, so I'm with Dr. Tachi. I remember the days when the dog was in the backyard. Some of them, the dogs had freedom and were able to run around the yard. There were other dogs that were chained to a post.
Yeah,
They
we
got
put our
their
dog out
food.
the back door and he was in the yard.
Okay, and they were doing pretty good, or the ones that grew up, or not grew up, but other dogs who had run of the fields in the country where they just ran, and then they would come back to the house and eat scraps or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have mass-produced, manufactured food. They ate what we ate or caught something in the wild.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and they lived a long time.
But here's the deal. When you grew up, there were not strollers for dogs. There were not hotels for dogs. There were not. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't going on when we were coming up. The dog was just a dog. Even though it felt like a family member. There was not insurance for pets. I mean,
you have to have insurance now because you got all this other stuff for the dog, and they need to. Okay, because anyway.
And I wouldn't.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What were you saying, Dr. Tachi?
Oh. Okay, no problem. Sorry. Let's not forget that I think we created a lot of the health problems that these animals have, obesity and all of these other things. Some things obviously are, and then breeding. Remember, when you breed animals, sometimes they're bred into oblivion. Like think about the pugs and things, how they have really short nozzles or snouts. So they tend to have like sinus issues, etc. We bred them to be that way. So because of our meddling, because of serving them years of Alpo with probably all kinds of cyanide and stuff in it, now they've developed these problems, and now we're trying to rectify it. But this is our fault. I have to say that. Yep.
Man put his hands in stuff and messed stuff up.
And they would have succeeded if it wasn't for we meddling kids.
And this is a result too of some of us not wanting to walk the dog. I guess.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have to walk the dog if you let him run in the field.
That's true. That's true.
They were never meant to be caged up
and sit on the couch and watch TV with us all day long.
Okay, they do have something called dog TV.
Yes.
Literally dog TV, so the dog can watch the TV and not tear up your house.
Yes. and people were using it while they were at work. They just turned on the dog TV.
Okay, so here's my take. That dog TV made the owners feel better because I don't think the dog was paying attention.
You could be right.
No comment. So those are the things that I have for you today. We got Baby Shark, and we who in the billions. Do not despise small beginnings.
Well, and there's technology coming out and that people. Okay, there's things that are coming on the market that we didn't think was going to make it, but they made it.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
Dr. Tachi, do you want to go ahead and give us some media? Go ahead until TJ arrives. Dr. Tachi.
Sorry, I forgot to undo my microphone.
Oh, okay.
Sure, absolutely. There are a few stories that I have. Hello, everyone. Welcome to what could have happened on Mediascope, but didn't because we are on hiatus. So here we go, on hiatus till February. So let's talk about, there were a couple of, it seems like 2022 was starting off with, on a grim note. We had a couple of high-profile deaths last week, being James Ntume from the group super producer and percussionist from the group Ntume. You'll probably remember the song Juicy Fruit, for those of you that are R&B fans. Mm-hmm. Also, that became really big. So Juicy Fruit came out in 1983. In 1994, it became a hit again when the Notorious B.I.G. sampled, or Biggie as we call him in New York, sampled it for, what's the name of the song? I can't remember, but you all know if you're hip-hop heads. Jose, you know. If you don't know, now you know. That's part of the song. So B.I.G. sampled it for his song, and it became a hit once again. He passed away at the age, he was 75, I believe. And then, of course, we had Bob Saget from Full House, who played the dad on Full House and Fuller House. He was also a stand-up comedian. In fact, he was quite a raunchy stand-up comedian, and people see the Full House and think that he was clean. No, he wasn't clean. He just happened to have a job on a clean show.
Oh.
But he was a really beloved comic in the stand-up comic world. And also, you'll remember him from a few seasons of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Right.
As well as a host of that. Well, he passed away. I still don't know exactly what happened. He was at a gig in Orlando, and he was found unresponsive in his hotel room on his bed. So not quite sure. They're still doing investigation into that. And
really?
So not quite sure what happened. Yeah, I haven't read anything contrary to what happened, but I haven't looked today either. So that was an unfortunate loss. So a lot of losses in this first half of the year. So as well to both of them. But speaking of Fuller House, MeTV, which is one of my favorite channels, they play a lot of classic television shows, has mastered adding Full House to their schedule after Bob Saget's death. So they're moving up. They were scheduled to have it on anyway, but they're moving up. The premiere of the 90s sitcom rerun runs by 1 month since his sudden passing. So on January 16th, which is going to be Sunday, they're going to showcase fan favorite episodes and spotlight his character, who was Danny Tanner. And on the show, he was a talk show host and also a widowed father of 3. So Neil Sabin, the vice chairman of WeGo Broadcasting, which does MeTV, said this on Wednesday. MeTV was planning to introduce Full House to our schedule in February, pairing it with another timeless family, the Bradys and the Bunch. Now our plans are to introduce Full House this weekend as a tribute to the beloved Bob Saget, aka America's Dad. Watching the series takes on new meaning for fans of the program, with viewers from all generations able to come together and celebrate Bob in his most memorable TV series. So if you're interested, the sitcom, they're doing a special this Sunday, but then the regular day and time is going to be starting Sunday, January 23rd from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. And they're also going to do a Valentine's Day themed 12-episode marathon. So if you are interested, take a look at MeTV for that. Moving on, if nobody has any comments. Comcast, everybody's favorite fleecer of cable. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. Comcast is going to carry BET Plus as part of their new Viacom CBS carriage deal. Now, they've come to Viacom and CBS. Viacom CBS has come to a carriage deal with Comcast. There was a little bit of scuffle, but there is a long-term agreement that includes, CBS, cable networks, Paramount Plus, Showtime over the top, and Pluto TV. So they're going to be able to offer all these services to subscribers, and this deal renews the carriage of CBS television network cable channels, again, BET, CBS Sports Network, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, Paramount Network, Pop TV, if anybody has that, Smithsonian Channel, and Showtime, and streaming services, Paramount Plus, Showtime over the top, and Pluto TV. Now, this is interesting because as you go through these stories, you don't realize how large the ecosystem of Viacom CBS is and how many channels they actually own. And if you think about it, when these channels started, they were all individually owned and operated initially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they started getting bought up by these conglomerates to the point that you're like, wow, oh, okay, that's Viacom too. Oh, that's Viacom too. Okay, why am I seeing the BET Awards on all these channels? That's because it's Viacom. So what started to happen is anytime you see, for example, an award show like the MTV Awards, because that is Viacom, you're going to be able to watch it on BET, VH1, all across Viacom channels. So it's interesting to see how television has changed like that. But yeah, new carriage deal. And if you're a subscriber of Comcast, you're going to be able to get access to all these channels. Let's talk award season because everybody wants. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to interject or ask a question. How many people have actually cut the cord, or are we still dependent on cable?
Cable, I laugh.
I'm asking because I cut the cord a while back, and I do mostly everything through streaming services. So I'm just asking people in the Clubhouse audience or in our live audience over here on the live side. And Serena, you can answer that question too. Jose, Shawana, what are you guys using? Are you using streaming more so? And Serena is going to might have her come up. What are you all using? Serena, welcome. Did I not hit the button right?
And Serena is new.
Hi, Serena. Welcome.
There we go. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I had raised my hand earlier when y'all talking about Baby Shark. I was starting to have shakes and some traumatizing memories. Because my son is 10 and he still singing this. They were singing that song last year in 3rd grade. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. I'm not shocked they reached 10 billion.
I'm not either.
I'm not, because these kids are like about to go to middle school and they're still singing Baby Shark. So, and it was ingrained in daycare. Every day I walked in there, they played that song. So daycare, it was Baby Shark and the Frozen soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, joys of motherhood. But cutting the cord, when I had gotten high speed, Wi-Fi, when all the kids had to go virtual, they could not set up any of my stuff. They had to drop off my equipment at the front door and tell me how to figure it out. So what they did was they threw in a stream box for me. And that's what we've been using. We hook it up to the TV, and I got all my streaming services hooked up to the stream box, and we're good.
Okay.
Wow. And it's not costing me anything extra but like $4 or $5 a month. So, I'd rather that. If I want to watch something on HBO Max or Netflix or something, that's what relatives are for in their passwords. So, other than that, I don't have like cable because it's just the amount of money is just ridiculous. And for what? We're not even watching it.
You know what? I think they have found a way to keep adding on fees so they can keep their revenue coming in, because when I first cut the cable, it really was a savings, but now they have just inched it up by charging me more for Wi-Fi, etc. How fast do I want the Wi-Fi to go?
Yeah, I had locked in a 2-year contract because this was spring 2020 when the whole world shut down. So they were just so desperate to get people to sign up. And I'm like, well, we need it because our kids are all of a sudden are all on Zoom every day,
Yes.
But I locked in a 2-year deal, and then when I got it increased, I needed like more speed and stuff. I locked in another 2-year deal just a couple of months ago. So I'm like, my rate is the same until the end of 2023.
And
so
who is your service provider?
It's Xfinity, which I believe is an entity of Comcast.
It is.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm in the Northern Virginia area, so I'm by DC, but for some strange reason in my area, the only people we can get is Xfinity or like a satellite dish.
Yeah,
dish TV. That's it. We can't even get. I don't want FiOS, but we can't get anyone else. Like they have locked in.
Yeah, there's no competition.
Right. There is a in Sacramento, there's Elk Grove, which is literally right at our back door. It's kind of like in the same area. Well, Elk Grove, some parts of Elk Grove can only get Frontier. Frontier is horrible.
Oh gosh.
It is just horrible. But some places can get Xfinity depending on your zip code or whatever. And I was like, who decided this? That y'all can cut it up, and then some people can't get service.
Yeah.
Let's think about the fact that you receiving service is secondary to them making money. I just have to put that out there. So you will suffer every time when it comes to that. I'm not trying to say that customer service is not part of their thing, but it's very low on the scale for them. Yeah. And so there are all sorts of things when it comes to lobbying, when it comes to carriage rules. It's so not cut and dry. And the thing is, too, depending on where you live, some of these companies don't want to put in the infrastructure for that to happen. And so I know whenever I go to visit my mother in upstate New York, the speeds, for example, the internet speeds there are terrible. The fact that she can receive any kind of TV at all is, and we use, Roku and whatever. So it's amazing because I'm pinging in when I do a speed test. I'm pinging in at like just 2.
Oh.
So, yeah. It's crazy. It's like,
what year are we in? 2022? We're still doing this?
Exactly. And so the thing is, it's like, they're like, oh, well, they were thinking about putting five.
Thinking.
Can we move past thinking and let's start to doing?
But that's part of the problem. And, this is the whole thing, not to get political, but when you talk about the infrastructure bill and things that are out there, our infrastructure in general is antiquated, and that includes our technological infrastructure. You look at other places, look at Hong Kong, look at Tokyo, and they have far surpassed, what we've done. But because lobbyists will go and lobby these things to make sure it's the same thing like the railroad industry. This railroad industry is antiquated, but there are people that will go to the Hill and lobby on behalf so things can basically stay the way they are.
Right.
It's a shame. So your good is better than the greater good, and that's the model that we tend to use for business here. And so that's the same thing when it comes to cable. Now, forget about the fact that cable was invented in the first place to take television signals out to rural areas. And now you look, and because we've come beyond cable, or we should come beyond cable, they still want that stronghold. Cable still wants that stronghold. So they're actually elated, I'm sure, that all of this a la carting we've been doing with over the top is starting to, I'm not saying it's backfiring, but it's starting to have an effect where you're paying more than you would have for a package if you want every single thing.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a tip for you with Comcast. Just going to say this because Comcast has this little thing where after your 2 years, 1 year or something, they're not going to call you and tell you it's up. They will just raise your rate without telling you that.
I marked the day. I was like, okay. I was
yes.
going to call you in about 1 year, 10 months.
Right.
We'll talk,
and
we'll talk again.
You do need to renegotiate. And I got tired of doing that every year for the promos. And I just called them and I said, okay, I need gig speed and I need to know how much gig speed is. What is your rate for gig speed without your promotions? I don't want promotions. I don't want the TV. I don't want the phone. I don't want anything else. I just want gig speed. What is that rate? They gave me the rate. And then I said, okay, now you're sure you're not going to come back. I don't want y'all calling me and telling me, hey, we got a deal for you. I don't want none of that. And I got that and my rate stays the same. It's been the same for a couple of years now. And they still have people, hey, you can get TV. I said, I don't want TV. Stop calling me.
Yep. Yeah, they do that. I'm like, no, we're content. We got what we need and we'll talk to you later.
Right. But I don't have to go back through that every 2 year period. I just give me something where I don't have to talk to y'all.
Period. I hear you.
So you need to negotiate. I'm just saying, whatever company it is, you're going to need to negotiate for your best interest because like Dr. Tachi said, they prefer their dollars than our service.
Right. Yep, and we're going to be in this virtual universe forever. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You've got to be your own digital advocate.
Oh, yeah. When they say you have to set up your own equipment, I said, so how much money are you giving me off every month? Because I got to do this.
Right.
And we sat there on the phone because I said, I'm doing their job because y'all can't come in my house because this was May of 2020.
So
they were not allowed in houses because of the pandemic.
So you need to give me a check.
And we negotiated. This was before I even set and plugged anything in, and we negotiated it down because I said, if I got to do the job, I need a discount.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they didn't even argue. So I was like, all right, thank you.
Well, because the thing is, they know that that's the case, but the average person is not going to argue for that.
Yeah.
So they were okay with doing that. But what we're going to see is that we're going to need to get used to that self-serve is going to be the way. I mean, just look at what's happening with. For example, you call in the call centers, press this for this. They want you really to take care of yourself. That's why they give you all sorts of automated options before you get to a customer service person. They want you to take care of it. So look for that to happen with any of these things, whether it's a cable, whatever that you have to set up. It's going to be self-serve.
Yeah. And even like with Verizon, they actually charge you a fee if you have to talk to a live representative.
Which is
like
crazy.
If you can't figure out stuff on the prompts, my cell phone. And I'm like, what do you mean you're going to charge me an extra fee?
For customer service.
It's like for customer service.
And the thing is, that's not getting passed on to the customer service agent. They are padding their pockets with whatever, $2 or whatever. So, I'm sorry, that's your job. Part of the service is that if something is not right, I need to have somebody help me. You're not charging me for that. So again, that's going to be up to the consumers to do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Dr. Tachi. I didn't mean to take us off on a tangent.
That's okay. So getting back off of the tangent, which I love. Let's talk about award season, the shows that we love not to watch anyway. Does anybody care? Anyway, so the Producers Guild, the PGA, has postponed. There have been a bunch of award shows that have postponed because of the surge of COVID-19. So this new, I was about to say Omarion, the Omicron variant. They need to stop it with that Omarion thing because it's making me say that. So the Producers Guild has postponed because of the thing. It was already scheduled for February 26th, but now they have pushed it to March 19th. We'll see. So they postponed. It's the 33rd Producers Guild that's supposed to take place. It is going to happen at the Fairmont Century Plaza Hotel in Los Angeles, California. They're actually going to work closely with government officials and other health experts to protect staff and attendees of the ceremony. So it seems now that they're saying, come hell or high water, it's going to happen March 19th, but we are going to work with others to ensure that, or with the government officials to ensure that we are doing things. So doing things properly. So right now, attendees are required to be fully vaccinated with a booster if they're eligible, and they also have to provide a negative COVID-19 test before being allowed to attend. So also, because of the postponement of these awards, the noms for children's sports and short form categories are now going to take place on January 18th, which is next week. And the winners categories will be announced at the PGA Awards nominee celebrations in LA and New York the week of March 15th. So that's how this is having an effect on Hollywood and the award season. Critics' Choice is also rescheduled, and the unfortunate thing is they rescheduled it for the same date as the BAFTA Awards. So, yeah, why would you do that? But so this is Critics' Choice Association President Joey Berlin said to the Hollywood Reporter, quote, "Our choice is to do a show on March 13th or not do a show." So it was supposed to happen January 9th, then they postponed it to March 13th, which is the same day as the BAFTAs. Now, if you don't know the BAFTAs, those are the awards, the film awards that take place in film and television in London. So that is for the UK. So, so Joey Berlin said there was literally no other choice. We have to deliver a 3-hour show to the CW on a Sunday. So live events in LA aren't expected to resume prior to the Super Bowl on February 13th. And that takes that Sunday off of the calendar because of the Super Bowl. Then TBS, which is simulcasting the Critics' Choice Awards this year with the CW, has unbreakable commitments on February 20th and the 27th. And so they said, and the Oscars is happening on the 27th. So go ahead.
Did they read the room? Like, we probably don't care and we weren't going to watch anyway?
They care. They don't care that we don't care because we don't care. They care. We care about the red carpet. That's what we care about. We care about maybe seeing celebrities on the red carpet and a little bit of banter interaction. Nobody wants to sit there for 3 hours and watch a show. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. There are people who do like to do that. At one point, I was the type of person that really enjoyed award shows. I don't disenjoy them, which is not a word. I don't disenjoy them, but I don't enjoy them like I once did because it's
changed. This is like horse and buggy to car. We have changed. You got to figure out another way to do that. Put it on your YouTube channel and tell us to watch. Some kind of other way, because they're spending, I'm sure, a nice sizable budget to do that, to try and. I was just dizzy when you just talked about, well, we can't do it on that day, so we need to try and put it on this day. I'm like, really? How about that happen?
Oh my goodness. Because we get the synopsis anyway. If we miss it, we get the synopsis over there on the different e-magazines, and people put up YouTubes and.
Yes. All I want is the highlights. I don't give a damn about the main show.
Yes, highlights.
If I win my awards, that's fine. I'll feel the same way. Highlights are good.
Yes, we like the highlights. And maybe somebody should say something. I don't know who's making the decision up top that we are looking for this. I was in a workshop and they were talking about listening to your audience or the people that you say that you serve. And if they're not into it and not listening, like literal listening, but watching online, see what they're talking about and, what their dislikes are and that type of thing means you're hearing what they're saying if you're tuning into that, not just, oh, we've always done it, because that's what it sounds like they're doing. We have to put this out on Sunday for 3 hours. Who said you had to do that?
The agreements that they have with the CW, but you didn't have to do it in the first place. But I think there's that expectation. So this is the interesting thing. So Joey Berlin, again, the head of the Critics' Choice Association, just opened his mouth to criticize the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, who does the Golden Globes, for scheduling it on the same date as the Critics' Choice Awards were originally to take place this year. You just opened your mouth to criticize them, and here you are now scheduling it on the same day as the BAFTA does. But he told the Hollywood Reporter that he actually reached out to BAFTA to explain the predicament and emphasize he wasn't doing it as an aggressive move. He said they were really gracious, and he put out there that they'll host the BAFTA nominees who are in LA at the Fairmont for breakfast, and they can be live via satellite if they like. So BAFTA says this: we're aware of the date change for the Critics' Choice Award and understand the unprecedented circumstances that have led to their decision this year. No changes to our current plans for an in-person event for the EE British Academy Film Awards on March 13th or 13th of March. And we look forward to welcoming everyone to London's Royal Albert Hall for safe and memorable events. There are no plans for any satellite link up. that last part was like... that's nice, but we're not doing that. So anyway, it's interesting. Okay, I thought somebody had something to say.
I said good for them. Good for them for not, acquiescing to all of the wonderfulness. not going for it.
Is Terry here yet?
No, I'm going to do her stories.
Oh, okay. Then let me hurry up because I just have a few that I need to put out there. Apple has released a new app for studios to test their content on Apple TV to ensure content is optimized for Apple TV before it is released. So they're making it easier for everybody to do that, to test out the content. So it's called the Apple Partner Media Review app, and it's a new app that's exclusive to Apple TV. So this allows, if you're a studio and you want to preview your content on Apple TV, and run it on the device before you actually release the content, you can make sure that it works and it looks right, etc. So the description of the app on the App Store says that users can customize their content with options to, quote, approve or reject HDR, which is high dynamic range, and iTunes extras on the app. So it can be downloaded for free now from the Apple TV App Store, and it requires that an Apple TV that's running tvOS 12.3 or higher is linked up to it. So that's interesting. If you've got content, you're a studio, you're putting that out there, you want to make sure your stuff looks right, you can now test it on the new Apple TV app for that. And I think I have one more that I want to put out there. Give me just a sec, because I had a lot of tech things that I didn't. Oh, okay, here we go. Two more. Netflix. Let's talk about Netflix. You know, I usually talk about Netflix. Netflix's Q4 original content has outpaced all rivals. You know, everybody's trying to get into the original content game. They released 835 content episodes, up from 554 episodes in the Q4 last year. Absolutely. This is according to Moffett-Nathanson Research Analysis. Second place is HBO Max, and that's a distant second place, now at 302 episodes for the quarter. Amazon Prime Video, 248, and Hulu, 148. Disney Plus is far behind with only 98. So the positive for Disney Plus, according to Nielsen, is that they have a strong overall streaming share of total TV usage relative to other competitors. So, yeah, that's the good news for them. And they also say that Paramount Plus and Peacock appear to have gained momentum in the fourth quarter. Good news for them. So that is what is happening with Netflix. They are outpacing everyone with original content. But are we surprised? They pummeled a whole bunch of money into this. Was it 2 years ago they were putting 13 billion into original content?
Yep.
So, this is not a surprise. Original content has always been their plan because I think they knew that in the back of their head that these people can come for their content and snatch it as soon as the agreements are over at any time. So we better have a plan to have our own content or we're done. Because remember, Netflix at one time was only other people's content.
It was.
They didn't introduce anything. But they were smart to save them off at the pass and say, we've got to start creating stuff because if they ever decide to come back and take their stuff, we have nothing. So they were very smart with that move.
Yes, because I do remember when Disney was pulling out of Netflix, and Netflix let me see, and they didn't do a blockbuster move where they didn't move when they saw the shift coming.
Somebody moved the cheese,
Cheese got moved, cake got moved, everything got moved, and Netflix said, okay, we need to make our own stuff because that was the same time everybody decided to have, well, not everybody, many of them decided, hey, we can have our own streaming channel.
Exactly, which is why we have this problem we have now.
And a la carte stuff going on.
That's the problem. So very interesting. And then finally, let me bring you a little bit of art as media. The Mona Lisa is going immersive and it's going to reshape the 500-year-old experience that we know. The Mona Lisa hangs in the Louvre in Paris, France, Europe.
Yes.
You don't know where it is. But you're going to get, so I don't know if any of you have seen the Van Gogh experience. Have any of you seen that yet?
No, but I would like to.
Yeah, it was, I think it's still here in Miami. I just haven't had a chance to go. But I've had a lot of people that have gone, they said it is a fantastic experience. Now, years ago, when I lived in DC, I did go to see the Van Gogh exhibit at the National Museum, and it was great. But I'm imagining that this interactive experience is even better. So that's what they're trying to do in a sense with the Mona Lisa. So the Louvre and the Grand Palais have plans to present the Mona Lisa as a digital installation. It's going to be called La Joconde, which is the French name of the Leonardo da Vinci masterpiece. And it's going to be a multimedia show that will delve into the artwork's history through 6 themes and explore its journey to fame and the impact that it's left on the art world. And in addition, this high-tech exhibit is going to bring the Mona Lisa much closer to the gaze. And so you're going to, meaning that, usually if you go to the Louvre, you're going to have to elbow through crowds to look at the painting. You can't get right up on the painting. They've got some, roping so that you can't touch it and that type of thing. So, so you're going to be able to see it up close and personal. And it's going to open in it's opening March 10th through August 21st. So you'll be able to enjoy this spectacle. So check it out. It's if you happen to be going to Paris, you should check it out. And it will be interesting to know whether or not they'll make this experience available online. I would love to see it.
I would like to, I would hope they would make it available AR or
yes,
where
maybe in the metaverse,
right, where you can put the glasses on and I can go to the Louvre and then I can go, you know what I mean, or bring it. I don't necessarily want to put it on my wall in my house. I would like to actually go to the Louvre.
Do it in a museum setting,
right? And with the AR will allow you to do that. I think that would be great if they could make that happen, since they're trying to make it digital anyway.
Well, we've got a number of comments about this over here, Dr. Tachi. Um, First of all, Carlos is saying he offers the technology to build your streaming channel because he's in the business, and he says he saw two versions of Van Gogh, and he also took his child to the Met to see Starry Night, which is a Van Gogh piece, and then Mona Lisa also is behind 5 inches of glass when he went to see it in the Louvre. So just be aware that you're not going to be able to touch this stuff. Well, you shouldn't be touching it anyway. But
That's
yeah.
good. Thank you, Dr. Tachi.
Absolutely. Thank you. Over to you all.
All right. And so in social media news this week, I'm filling in for Terry Johnson online everywhere. We're going to start with Instagram. Instagram is exploring a customizable profile grid. Instagram has been developing an edit grid feature that would let you reorder the posts in your profile. So instead of deleting a photo that no longer works with your feed's aesthetics, you could just rearrange it rather than deleting or archiving the post. When does that come in? I don't see a date, but I'm like, that's genius because you can move, you know what I mean?
Shuffle stuff around.
I'm going to move that
Prioritize.
around. Okay, the second story, Instagram is starts testing private story likes. Instagram is testing a new option that allows some users to privately like stories. Only stories authors will see the total like count. Instagram has started testing the ability for its users to like stories privately. At present, the feature is a limited test, only visible to a small group of people globally. The Meta-owned company explains that the feature is a way to react to stories without sending a direct message. Only a story's author will be able to see the total number of likes, and Instagram doesn't intend to make the like count public in the future. Another story from Instagram. Instagram tests vertical scrolling design for stories. They are now testing a new vertical scrolling design for stories with a small group of users. The vertical feed, which the platform started to develop back in February 2021, gives a more TikTok-like experience to users. The new design lets users see more stories from the same user by scrolling through horizontally and skipping to the next user's content by swiping down. Now, I think that might work because when I go through stories right now, you got to keep swiping right or left or whatever it is. You got to keep swiping in order to get to the next story of the next person. And now we're going on to Twitter news. And I have one thing from Twitter. It says Twitter allows all Twitter Spaces hosts to record audio. Twitter has announced that all Android and iOS users can record spaces when they're hosting. As before, you just have to toggle record space before you start. From there, your audio will be available for public listening and sharing 30 days after the initial stream. Hosts can delete recordings at any time. Twitter will keep audio files for up to 120 days. However, to verify terms of service violation reports. Oh, that's for them to verify the terms of service and violation reports.
For review, so they can review it.
Right. That's 6 months. They'll keep it up there. And that is your week in social media. Anybody have anything else? Dr. Tachi, did you get a chance to watch The Matrix?
No, not yet. Crazy week, and I know I promised you that I was going to. I did not.
No worries. We'll talk about it when you get back. It's not when you watch it. And I watched yesterday The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Okay, what did you think?
I liked I like the setting, and okay, the Elizabethan English, you're going to have to pay attention because they didn't make it in everyday language.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're going to have to lean in, knowing you going in that this is Shakespeare, and you got to pay attention to the story. It's almost like watching subtitles
Yes.
in reverse. I'm like, okay, so what's happening here? Okay, there's 3 witches. Okay, what's this over here? Oh, somebody's dying. It was good, but it's not what you're used to on television, where on TV they explain everything to you. And this is Shakespeare, bottom line. It was good. Of course, I like Shakespeare.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Was it good to you? Do you really need to be a Shakespeare fan to appreciate this?
I wouldn't say. So there was 2 high-end actors, Frances McDormand, I believe is her name, and Denzel Washington. So some people are coming in for cast.
Yeah, I saw the ad with his name on it, but I just don't do Shakespeare.
Terry don't like Shakespeare. I like Shakespeare. And then the next thing, the cinematography was great.
Oh, okay.
It's all black and white, but it was good. I was like, oh. And so I was able to get into it. You know what I mean? And then I went online and looked at the history of it, because I don't like looking up the history of something before I watch it, because it'll mess it up. So
Carlos is over here clowning.
Is he? What is he talking about?
He says Encanto
Encanto is the film of the year. Thank you, Carlos.
He says, so they talk like Yoda. And then he asked you, who is Denzel? Laugh out loud. Denzel? Oh, yes, okay.
I like acting. I like the Shakespearean. I always do, when there's Shakespeare in the Park here. And so that was something I would do in the summer, but I couldn't do that for the last couple of summers. So I'm like, oh, wait, this was good.
Well, your family was a lot more cultured than mine, because I don't like Shakespeare. I don't care for opera unless it's something like Carmen, where I can understand the, lyrics.
The last thing I saw that Hollywood did, this was a while back with Leonardo DiCaprio when they did Romeo and Juliet. It was good because it was modern, but it was still Shakespearean. Yeah, and it was good. It's like, oh, I can get with Shakespeare like this. This is okay. So, Dr. Tachi, thank you for presenting and giving us, encouraging us. Oh, Carlos said he misses Shakespeare in the Park.
And he says that he worked at the Lincoln Center Opera House.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shakespeare in the Park is great.
Yeah, it is. It's you get to do something different than watch TV.
I just like theater in the park, period.
Yeah, it's good, and it takes effort and people thinking things through, and it was really good. So that is your week in tech history. Thank you, everybody who was online, live, and in the clubhouse. Carlos and Jose, and Dr. Tachi, and everybody who
Liz was over here today. Carlos says he's all about the arts. And he says, since I was an illustrator for most of my life. I didn't know that, Carlos.
Yeah. See what we know about Carlos.
I'm telling you, the man of many, many talents. Wow.
So this has been, go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
I was saying Carlos is amazing.
Yeah, he is. We have some amazing people that we know. So thank you for tuning in with us. We'll be back on Monday with Coffee, Tea, Thoughts, and Conversations. We have a special guest coming in, and so we're going to surprise you with that. We want to say thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention.
And we will see you next week.
We love you too, Carlos.
And be sure to catch Dr. Tachi in February for Mediascope
She will be back with Mediascope
in February.
And be sure to follow Terry Johnson online everywhere. Everywhere. So in the meantime, we want to remind you that if you're looking to become a part of the BizChicks community, don't forget to text Biz to 33777. And remember to go to the front of your own line. We'll see you Monday for Coffee, Thoughts, and Conversations.